Welcome back everybody, I'm Jaran Gerber, your host, and today we're going to react to part 1 of a 3-part series called The Top 26 Killer Instinct Characters. Now for new updates and content, you can visit the links in the description down below, and let's get started. Enjoy.
Hello everybody, I'm the Awesome Yojimbo, and I can't tell you how excited I am to finally be doing this topic. If you pay close attention to my countdowns, then you may know that I love Mortal Kombat X. One of the few 2D fighters that I can get into, this ultra-violent brawler was the game that got me into other fighters like BlazBlue and Persona 4 Arena. But then there was the rival game that has deepened my love for the genre, the super fast and insane fighting game we all know and love, Killer Instinct. This game is easily in my top 20 favorite video games of all time, mostly for the fast and easy to play combat, the crazy characters, and that kick-ass soundtrack. But most people that have played this game already know about this, so I just wasted my time telling you that. God damn it, Bobby. So let's get straight to the point. With this countdown, I'll be delving into the universe and talking about my favorite characters in the game. Same rules as my Mortal Kombat countdown, except that every character will be on the list, straight from least favorite to my absolute favorite character. You should all know the rules by now, so with that out of the way, get your killer groove on, because this is my top 26 Killer Instinct characters. Enjoy. Since this is a list that is ordered from least favorite to personal favorite, I think we'll have to start with my least favorite character at some point. Now, as I just got done saying, every character will get on the list, so your mains will definitely be on here, but chances are that your main won't be as high as other characters. So no matter what I say, I'm not trying to discredit you or insult you if you happen to like these characters. It's a personal list after all. So without further ado, my least favorite character is TJ Combo.
You got what it takes to beat the champ? Come on!
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. TJ Combo is a heavyweight boxer that has been praised around the globe as quite possibly the greatest human fighter that ever lived. He was downright unstoppable in the boxing ring, but fearing that he might lose his title, Ultra Tech came and offered him a little quote-unquote extra help, giving him implants in his arms that gave him near superhuman power. But because he cheated with those illegally implanted nanomachines, and the fact that he refused to take a dive in a fight against a full gore, he was exposed, stripped of his title, and shamed by the press and the entire world. But swearing revenge, he removed the Ultra Tech implants in his arms and joined in with all the other rebels to take Ultra Tech down. But even without his implants, TJ Combo comes packing it with some of the most violent boxing moves ever. Which is odd, considering that a lot of his moves look nothing like boxing anyway. But hey, it's Killer Instinct, so you might as well just accept it. Now while that doesn't bother me, the main reason that TJ is so low is because of his playstyle. Not his playstyle specifically, but it's the way he controls that bugs me. Now I've seen a lot of online matches with TJ, and I'm not gonna lie, pro TJ players make playing as him look beautiful. But for me, playing as TJ is a pain. His best combos require a ridiculous amount of memorization and controller inputs, and it feels more like you're playing Mortal Kombat X blindfolded compared to the rest of the cast. Even with combo assist on, I can't really get him to do what I want him to do, and I usually find myself tearing out my hair more than anything else. But it's mostly because I just haven't gotten used to his playstyle, not because he's a bad fighter. But I just don't have the patience to learn it. Come on guys, I'm not playing Tekken here. But I do see good outside of his gameplay. His stage isn't all that bad, and it's one of the few stages in the game with a stage finisher. His song isn't all that bad either. Now, I'm not really a fan of hip-hop rap, but it's one of the few rap songs outside of Mad World and epic rap battles that I can tolerate. So, give yourself a gold star for that one, Microsoft. Sorry, TJ, you're the champion of someone else's list. I mean, it's just one shithead's opinion, right? Now just keep in mind that while these characters are around the same territory, TJ is the only character in the game that I can't stand playing as. The next couple of characters, however, I either don't care for or they have too many personal flaws for me to want to put them higher. And no other female character in the game says this more than Orchid. At least in my opinion, that is. Orchid is the self-proclaimed leader of a rebel gang that wants to take Ultra Tech down. It's not directly explained as to why Orchid has any beef with them, but it's explained in Shadowlord's mode that her parents were killed by Ultratech. Whether by Fulgore units or some other reason is anybody's guess. Aside from her eye-popping finishing move in the first game, nothing about her really strikes me as fascinating or interesting. She has a very bland personality compared to the rest of the cast. Now, more than half of the characters really don't have much going for them in terms of personality, but their saving graces come in the form of their designs, fighting style, and or backstory. But for me, Orchid has none of these qualities going for her. Also, maybe it's just me, but Orchid feels like the only character whose redesign was a step down. I'm not a huge fan of her fighting style either. It's not bad really, but aside from her slide dash and some of her shadow attacks, her attack range is pitiful. I guess that's what you get for having 2 landing lights as your choice of weapons. Her stage is alright at best, even though it's home to one of the catchiest songs in the game, but even then it's got an issue. It doesn't really fit her. Maybe her retro design, but does she look and act like the type of chick that would have just an ounce of attitude outside of being constipatedly angry? She should hang out with Prince Zuko sometime. She's just forgettable. But what keeps her above TJ is that I can actually tolerate playing as her, but if I had the choice, I'd rather play as the next 24 characters on the list. I just don't want to play as her, okay? Coming up, we have the spunky Korean nunchaku-wielding martial artist, Kim Woo. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Kim Woo was one of the first returning characters from Killer Instinct 2 for Season 3. In the story, Kim Woo is a major character in the official manga as a top-class martial artist teacher. But then after a terrible incident involving the death of her grandfather, and a near-death encounter with the almighty Shadow Jago, she left her family and began her quest to fulfill her destiny to defeat Gargos with the rest of the KI roster. Now, Kim Woo is a bit of a mixed bag, but she does have some positives. Her iconic nunchucks make her one of the faster characters in the game, and her nunchucks even let her deflect her opponent's projectiles and fire a dragon spear back at them.
Wow.
I also really like her stage and theme music. Unlike Orchid, it fits her theme and character very well. And speaking of which, she's also one of the few characters that really isn't as serious as most of the cast, and it's actually kind of refreshing to see this type of character in a roster full of no-nonsense warriors. But in terms of gameplay mechanics, she has a few problems. Kim Woo has the worst range, period. The only way that you can actually get in and do any freaking damage is to get right in their face. That's kind of the whole point of the game, but you have to put yourself in complete danger of opponents because her range is so bad. This is especially bad when you're fighting against opponents like Conra and Glacius that actually have ranged attacks. That's kind of what we signed up for when our main weapon is a pair of nunchucks. Her instinct really isn't that good either. It allows her to summon more dragon spears to her aid, and she can use them as projectiles. Combine that with her terrible reach, she has pretty much made a name for herself as one of the worst characters in the game. And no, I'm not making this up, she clearly wasn't winning any popularity contests for the community. At least her stage music and ultra combo are awesome, right guys? Don't worry, Kim Woo, I'll still hang out with you when no one else will. We've already covered Kim Woo, but it's time to cover the next of the returning KI2 roster, Tusk. He was one of the first characters introduced in Season 3 as the bruiser of the group. He was also my second hyped character for Season 3's release, since he's kind of a crossover between Conan the Barbarian and Chris Hemsworth. And it's startling to hear that his voice sounds very familiar. It's almost as if, well, no, never mind. But instead of a 1 million pound blacksmith hammer, he wields the third biggest sword in video game history. Let's start off with the good stuff. First off, he's the proud owner of one of the best stages in the game, and it's even better complemented with one of the best songs in the entire Season 3 lineup. It's sad to see Mick Gordon go, but I'm glad he decided to pass the torch on down to Atlas Plug while he was busy with the new Doom. His backstory is also pretty good, and he has some of the better characterization in the series. And his playstyle is perfect if you like characters that can get the job done fast. But when I picked him up, his playstyle didn't exactly scream main favorite. For one, he isn't exactly my favorite design in the game. It's not a bad one, but still, it's not my favorite. And his moves actually do look pretty cool, but again, it all comes down to personal preference, and I'd rather use someone else. And while he's one of the strongest characters in the game, his sword attacks are slow, leaving a lot of painful memories of getting my butt handed to me by faster characters. And while I like his music, his ultra combo looks okay. Regardless, if this game had to have a Berserker, then I wouldn't have it any other way. So piss off, Guts. We don't want your awkward Guilty Gear ripoff animation around here.
If I'm not mistaken, he looks like a Viking.
One problem that most fighters have that Killer Instinct avoided is clones. They did an excellent job of balancing out the characters to the point where none of them feel exactly the same. But this game does have one character that comes close to being a clone. The Herald of Gargos, Omen. I'm sorry. Oh man! Omen is a part of a trio of fighters that I like to call the Jago trio. Jago, Shadow Jago, and Oh man! All three fighters have some similarities in fighting style and physique, but they're all different enough to be their own characters. But out of all three fighters, I personally feel that Omen is the weakest. Let's start off with the negatives. First off, I don't really like his Hadouken move. It's kinda interesting seeing that they move in different patterns when fired off, but it still bugs me because of how weird they can be. Second, he has a shadow move that lets him dash for a very short distance in the air. Sure, it can bypass projectiles, but it's pretty useless otherwise. He also has another shadow move where you can grab an opponent and cause their whole health bar to turn into potential damage, ensuring you an instant victory if you're good. But this bugs me to no end for two reasons. For one thing, you can't activate it in the middle of a combo, which is admittedly disappointing. Second, suppose you missed your opponent or your opponent combo breaks you before you can finish the job, well, you can just kiss your shadow meter goodbye. Third being, Omen. Yes, you hit them. You don't have to taunt. Just go in there and end the fight already. And while it's not that big an issue, he has the least accessories and alternate colors out of the entire cast. What, Gargos gets 2 extra colors, but you couldn't afford more than 2 accessories for each body part? You disgust me. Okay, in all fairness, he does have some positives. For one, he's the only character in the game to have 3 shadow bars instead of 2. His glide move is also really good for getting in close, and he's also got one of the best instincts in the entire game. Because for every Hadouken that hits your opponent, they will be locked out of using one of their shadow bars for a few seconds. That is crippling. Also, I know you're a demonic spirit and all, but could you at least have the decency to put some pants on? Well, I know at least one of my subscribers will be pissed off, and let me start off by saying that this is the last character I personally don't care for playing as. Riptor, the greatest hunter of all time brought back millennia later. And I gotta say, most of the cast in the rebooted Killer Instinct universe have had some major overhauls to their design, and most of them, in my eyes at least, are a huge step up. And I don't think that any of them have improved nearly as much as Riptor did. Ultratech has given humanity a ton of advances in technology and protection, coming in the form of their Fulgor army. But to make things a bit more interesting, they brought in another type of soldier. In the form of a Velociraptor, but with cybernetic enhancements, the Stalker unit was born, and with it, the alpha leader, Riptor. Riptor is another character that's up close and in your face, but she does have some interesting qualities. She can simultaneously rip you to shreds and fling you up in the air and give you concussion along with some nasty bite marks on your face. And that's not even getting into her cybernetic enhancements. Her instinct gives her increased speed, making her crazy fast, and she can even breathe fire. Which is weird because Velociraptors can't really do that. But hey, if they can make a game where a bear can use a bird as a rifle, they can get away with a dinosaur with porcupine quills and dragon breath. And her stage isn't that bad either. Man, someone must have been hyped for Jurassic World. You may have also noticed that I keep calling Riptor a she or a her. Well, that's because this Riptor is a female. Old school KI players might remember that Riptor is androgynous in the first game, but hey, this is a reboot, and reboots don't always follow every single rule of the original. I mean, just look at DMC. No, we're not doing that. The main reason that Riptor is so low is because even though I like her playstyle, I just rather play as someone else. Sorry, Riptor. It's not you, it's me. Wait, what are you? Oh god, no! I once read a review by IGN that said that Thunder was a character that felt out of place in the KI universe. 2 things. For one, well, who the hell cares about what IGN thinks anymore, because Thunder deserves to be in this game. Thunder is the younger brother to Eagle, the former Killer Instinct champion, but shortly after the Killer Instinct tournament, he mysteriously disappeared and thought to have died. Thunder went off to fight against anyone he deemed a threat, and find out what happened to Eagle, and give him a proper burial so that he can rest in peace. And I gotta say, looking back on it, I really like his design and story, and to be honest, I feel kinda sorry for him in a way. And despite the tomahawks and aggressive look in his eyes, he's one of the few truly good guys in the entire game, preferring to go the peaceful route but go for violence only if necessary. But now let's talk about his playstyle. His moves don't look the coolest, but he does a pretty good job of covering all the enemy hitboxes. His command grab is a great and painful way to end a combo, his back grab is also really good for starting combos, and he has a move where he jumps head first and dives down feet first. Okay. Plain and simple, he hits fast, he hits hard, what more can you want? His stage is also one of my personal favorites, and his character theme is awesome. Again, showing off Mick Gordon's talent as a music maker. The one thing that sets him lower than I'd like is his instinct. With this, he can use his Murder of Crows power to dash past his opponents or to avoid projectiles. But it's really not that fun to use or all that useful. That and his Ultra combo is kinda hit or miss. Sorry, Thunder. I know you'll find Eagle someday. Go, my friend!
You have America on your side!
So you've probably noticed the variety of characters in this game. Werewolves, aliens, spider chicks, and demons. Different species of all kinds, and oh yeah, they're all a bunch of overpowered freaks. They all have their own unique style, and they all make every single fight and adventure all on its own. And that's where we have Mira. Truth be told, after hearing about Nitala from Quarter Guy's Top 10 Vampires, I was really hoping that she could potentially be in Mortal Kombat X. Sadly, all my hopes were crushed, and I didn't have much to expect with vampires until Killer Instinct's PC release. And when Mira was leaked alongside General Rom, I was pretty excited to try her out. She's not exactly the type of character I was hoping for, but that doesn't mean that I don't find enjoyment whenever I pick her up from time to time. But she wasn't always a vampire. Mira was actually in the group of monster hunters called the Night Guard that captured many creatures and madmen that were too powerful to be destroyed. And she also happens to be Maya's long-lost sister. The two were top of the class in the Night Guard, but on one fateful night, the two were on a mission to take down a cult of Wendigos, and things went south quickly as Mira sacrificed herself so that Maya could get away. But seeing in her potential as a warrior of the night, she was brought back to life and given a pair of deadly gauntlets and turned into a vampire. Yeah, those gauntlets on her arms were kind of the main reason she turned evil, because they give her ultimate power, but for a price. Playstyle wise, Mira is fun but very risky to take into battle. She dies very quickly, but she makes up for it for being one of the strongest characters in the game. The trade-off, however, is the gauntlets. You see, they make her an absolute bruiser, but with each attack she sacrifices a bit of health. Every time she attacks, her health bar turns silver, and if you take even one hit while the whole bar is silver, you'll be one health bar down. But an interesting twist is that she can grab her opponent and bite them in the neck. This move doesn't do any damage outside of potential damage, but she can recover a bit of her used up health. This means that you have to be very careful with the timing of her grabs and attacks, because one slip up can spell disaster in bold letters. This makes Mira an interesting case of a glass cannon with a big emphasis on risk and reward. She also has some really good music on her site, I gotta say. No stage for poor Mira, but she does share a stage with Saberwolf. Nice place you guys have here. Mira can be a lot of fun if you're a bit of a risk taker, but for me, I'd rather keep my health bar full at all times, please. I do have a question though. Mira and Saberwolf share the Alchemic Lab as their stage, and the same thing goes for Sadira and General Rom in the Assassin's Cave. Now that makes sense, but why the heck does Rash share a stage with Khan Ra? Seriously, why not have him share a stage with Kim Woo because it makes more sense? Explain, game, explain!
So that was part 1 of the top 26 Killer Instinct characters. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Out of all the characters that we've covered thus far, I love Thunder. I love his appearance, I love his moveset and his backstory. The fact that he tried to track down his brother and give him a proper burial as well. I also love Tusk. I mean, look at that gigantic sword, and he looks just like a Viking. But man, oh man, I'm so looking forward to the second part of this series. And a word of wisdom for today. You have to play with that killer instinct. Have a blessed day further, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.